the other thing, Madeline, that I think what happens is there's been cases where clients in the past have spent an enormous amount of money. Let's say they spent something like 10,000 on some banner on a tennis court or on a signage. And I'm thinking $10,000 that you blew on a signage. I could have
Mhm.
used that in my budget for SEO or paid search, right?
Right.
And the longevity is so much longer and sustainable if it's online
Mhm.
because it's evergreen, right? If you
Yeah.
have something that's on the internet, it's evergreen until someone deletes it or takes it off the page. Whereas, I understand print and radio, the traditional route, which I've done in the past. It's a little more antiquated unless you have a physical shop or you have a physical office
Mhm.
or a dental practice or medical practice. That makes sense. I get that. But I think the core of your work should be digital and online because that's what people do every day, right? They search, they do Google search. If you're not coming up in the first couple pages, there's a understanding and perception of clout also. If I
Right.
Google, let's say an eye surgeon or an orthopedic surgeon in my area in Carlsbad, and they're not even showing up at all on the first page, I'm going to question,
Yeah.
well,
I'm
is
not
this
going to go to
quackery?
them.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. I like what you said about the having things on the web has so much more longevity, and I feel like that's
Right.
that's something so crazy where when I look something up, I don't remember what I looked up recently. I may have looked up like what do you do when two dogs are fighting? Like should you regulate it or
Right.
should
Right.
you ignore them? And an article came up that was from a blog that might have been published 5 years ago, 7 years
Yeah.
ago. It was still relevant information. It was still on the internet. Like if you go through the work and do the proper SEO, you do the proper foundational steps, you don't have to go and spend another 10K on a billboard, like it's still
Right.
going to be out there. It's still going to show up.
Right. Unless you have a competitor or some other writers that wrote about the same topic and they're going to flush you out, so to speak.
Right.
You know,
Right.
they they have pretty much dominated the internet where they're showing
Yeah.
up first.